I've been drinking water for some time, picking up the parts of all my life. Didn't get to solve it this time. How am I to break apart? Don't tell me why we can't collide. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Don't you feel it? On the break of dawn, I'll follow you to carry on. On the break of dawn, I'll follow you to carry on. I've been seeing farther in dark skies, bringing me for fire, not for time. Following my heart, thinking mine. Show you how I play my part. Ghosts in the night don't justify the love we lost, the love we hide. Don't you feel it? Don't you feel it? On the break of dawn, I follow you to carry on. On the break of dawn, I'll follow you to carry on.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to TeamODZ Live and ODivaZ, and I'm back. Did you miss me, Rick?
Where you gone?
Cheers, Ufa. I guess
Oh,
not.
yeah, of course.
I was going to ask you next. It's good to be back. First time on the bike since Thursday, although I did go Spain Plus day before yesterday.
That's not a bike, though. That's a spinny machine.
That's just a bike.
That's... All right, fine. It's a bike. Can't take it to get coffee, though. They get mad when you try to do that. I mean, I haven't been able to see you face to face, but I still feel like with my live stream days, when you would show up, I still felt like I knew what was going on. Keeping in touch.
Hey there, Nick and Owen.
I was dead.
You're dropping in, my friends. Yes, I'm back. I know. I've been away for a week. Good to be back. So, Yolanda arrives at O'Hare last night. I've been sat waiting in a rest stop parking lot near the airport till about 40 minutes before a flight was due to arrive. So then, I've minimised the amount of parking I'm going to be paying for. So I get there. Finally, she gets off the plane and makes it to the baggage claim area where I'm standing. And she says, I've got this weird message that my bags aren't on the flight. And then another one saying that they'll be on the Carousel 4. So I said, right, okay, well, let's go to the baggage office. Well, she hadn't collected her bags at LAX before she went through immigration.
Oh.
So they came on the following flight, so we had to wait for an hour.
Oh, but they did still come. That's good.
Yeah.
Did they have to be? So I'm guessing they went through immigration at LAX, so that wasn't an issue.
No, they went through Customs and Border.
Oh wait, there he is. Okay. I got my first pole guy. And he's doing good. This is gonna go very well.
Well, I guess Nick could be asking both of us, Owen. I'm very tired. So Yolanda's flight got in at 6:55 yesterday. So I'm thinking, well, it's going to be 7:30 by the time he's made it through the baggage claim and we picked a bag up. So that's not going to be too bad. 3 hours drive, 10:30 back home. Because we had to wait for the bags. We didn't leave till 8:30. It cost me an extra $6 parking. And, well, it was 11:30 by the time we got home. And, well past midnight when I finally got to bed after unpacking. So I'm a little tired. And you've seen this face, you know it needs all the beauty sleep it can get. You pulling someone back?
Yeah,
Good.
they're doing a good job.
Hey there, Ben.
Rest for a moment. Hey, Ben.
How's it going, Ben? Yeah, that would have been nice, Nick. My lie-in was until 6 AM this morning. That's when I got up.
This might take a little bit.
No. Why am I 50 meters ahead of Cherise?
Because you've been pushing, I don't see what.
I haven't been pushing. I've been doing 2.3 watts a kilo.
Okay, but so is Reese, and now it feels nice.
All right. I'm just going to stop leading rides, I think. I can't do it right for you, Ufa.
You do it, you yeah, I can't say anything that you're pushy. I know that it's not, doesn't appear so to you because you have training difficulty at 0%, but
Oh, come on, don't give up.
Training difficulty doesn't matter a jot.
It does when we go up and down. We did that.
Okay, well, on the last ebb I led, I had you complaining in one ear and I had other people telling me how great a ride it
I'm
was,
not
how
complaining,
constant
I'm just
it was.
saying I'm telling you the influence it has on the ride for somebody like me.
Well, maybe you're having the same problem that Angela was having.
I'm in the same boat with Angela, that's true.
Okay, then there we go. So, other people aren't having the same issue.
Oops. Ryan's going for it again. Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I tried.
Yeah, so what's the news on the interview, Owen? Are we progressing? Faith's got an interview next month. In a couple of weeks' time. He's going for an internship at a graphic design place not too far from here. There's Jamel.
There's a lot of people back.
You want some help back there?
We'll see how it goes.
How far back are you going?
I think it's gonna end up being about 20 seconds.
Yeah, okay. I'll come back and help you.
Doing 3, 3, 3, 4 pretty steadily right now. So hopefully,
Yeah, I see that.
keeps that up. I can work with him.
And Lee's doing nearly 4 watts a kilo. He's 10 seconds behind.
I'm a little scared with Lee because I went back for that other for Kessel and he burnt out once I got there. He was trying. He
Okay.
did the whole like push hard, and then once I got there, he went for a rest, and we were way too far back. Then he gave up. Then he started again. Something happened.
Right, we want to TTT this.
Yeah.
Alright, you got a 16, I'll take it for a minute then. Oh, we're dropping her. Okay, I'm coming up. My turn.
So it's not looking for this time now because they're dropping in people without the ODC shirts. And then they disappear again.
What's Jamel doing back here? We know he can make it back. Almost there. Nice challenge. All right, Rick, can you finish it off? Nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Bit of practice for tomorrow.
Yeah, we made light work out of that. Love you. Every day.
Yeah, that we got that back a whole lot easier and quicker than I thought we would. I didn't think we'd make 20 seconds up that quickly.
Do I have to answer that question again now, Charlie?
Is that for me, Nick? I'm enjoying myself here. Oh. The only thing I can say to that, Owen, is yeah, it's hard work moving away from friends and family. I wouldn't be here where I am today. I wouldn't have the family that I do today. I wouldn't have all the things that I do right now if it hadn't have been for one conversation that I had with my team leader when I was offered a position near, well, in Kent, moving away from my friends and family in the northwest of the UK. I went to my team leader and told him that I wasn't going to accept the job because I was moving away from friends and family. Didn't think I could afford to live down there. They were all really excuses, not reasons. He looked at me and he said, you've got to take it, you've got to accept it. If you don't, you're always going to be wondering, what if? And if things don't work out, what's to stop you moving back? I had no regrets, so. Have fun, enjoy the world, your life. Do what you can. He probably doesn't, well, I know he didn't remember that conversation because when I visited in 2012, I worked out of Barrow Mill a little bit and mentioned that to him. There you go on. So you're a bungee jumper then, are you, Nick? So the presentation I gave the students at the girls' university on Friday, you know, I gave a few fun facts about myself, and one of them included a photograph of me at the top of a 60-foot tower working on the antenna, getting ready to take the tower down. Fun stuff. Oh, here it is. Duck Step. This is my favourite song in the playlist. Yes, it just sampled ducks.
I have yet to hear the duck stuff.
This is Leonard's song. Twice now. I've been streaming when we passed Leonard. This has been on. Oh, he must have some weird magic that he can manage to get this in the playlist just at the right moment to be on when we pass him.
Duck step.
Well, Nick, next time I'm over there, I'll have to bring my climbing harness, and you'll have to sort it for me to get up there. I mean, I consider antenna towers an adult climbing frame.
Don't mind going up there, but I'm not doing it for pleasure.
Last one I was up, it had been repaired, let's say, about, I don't know, somewhere between half and 2/3 of the way up, and it had a bit of a lean. So we climbed it as high as we dare, and then put guys on it above the repair, and that really helped. It stabilized it a lot, straightened it up. But we had to remove a parabolic reflector from the top 900 megahertz antenna, and we went to do that, and we had to use a tagline to pull it away from the tower. And the guy on the ground, as he was pulling it away from the tower and it was getting lower and lower, I could feel the tower leaning in the direction that he was pulling. So I'm on the opposite side of it, leaning out from the tower to try and counteract the weight of the antenna.
My tower is aluminium. If that starts to lean, then I'm down, and you cannot count how fast.
Oh, double deckers.
Is it actually leaning at the moment, but that's the base that is crooked, so
Yeah.
I live with that.
Yeah, double deckers were one of my favourite chocolates, Nick. So we've got a store here in Appleton, or near in Appleton, called World Market, and they import things from around the world, and they have quite a selection of international chocolates and things. They have curly whirlies, fudge bars, double deckers, Star Bar, Lion bars, usual things, Mars bars and what have you. I might have spent a lot more money there than what I should have done, really.
You have world markets here as well, but somehow they only sell Polish stuff. Not that it's bad, because they have very good produce.
Yeah.
So I was reading about Dutch breweries this morning, which surprised me that there's about 350 breweries in the Netherlands. 240 of those are one-man enterprises. It's completely crazy. So, I mean,
Yeah.
not hobby, but advanced hobby, I would call it.
I mean, that's true. Like a lot of, well, I don't know for sure, but there's a lot of Belgian breweries that are like that too. As far as I know, but usually I feel like there's always like an apprentice assistant brewer there or something.
Yeah, probably there is.
But it is
But
kind
they
of
also,
depending on.
they say you can't earn money on it, so you have to have a lot of fringe tap room and tastings and stuff, and still it only comes even. You don't make a profit.
Yeah, your consistency can be cut a bit that way. Because,
I mean, there's a limit to how much people will pay for beer, because they're used to the supermarket stuff that is so low priced that it's unbelievable.
yeah, we learned that, like, with crunching the numbers, at least back then. I mean, now with inflation and whatnot, it's even tougher. But back then, when we first opened our brewery, or we're looking into it in 2014, it was pretty much if you were one barrel, you had to sell everything out of the tap room. Once you got to 3 barrel, you know, you're looking at like you want to sell half of it in the tap room. But I mean, the ideal would be like a 3-barrel brew system with double-sized fermenters, so that you can double batch into those, and then that gives you the freedom to do either smaller batches or larger batches depending on what the demand is, and you can grow into it, and then sell everything out of a tap room would be the ideal situation. For some reason though,
I mean, they do like company outings and stuff, so they ask people, do you want to go to an escape room or do you want to go to a brewery? And brewery seems to be oddly popular choice.
Yeah, that's usually the one, especially if you can add like a brewery tour into it. People just love those for some reason. And I mean, I guess like if I'm gonna go to a brewery, I don't mind looking around. Like if I'm gonna, especially if we're gonna be, you know, given a tour by whoever works there, it's fun to see what other people are doing and whatnot, compare and contrast and stuff. But I also, it's stopped recently in the last few years, but it used to be like anytime I'd go to visit family or anything somewhere, they'd be like, you want to go to a brewery? So I planned, or they'd already have a plan. Like I was thinking on Tuesday, we'll go to this brewery. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Dude, it's my job.
Yeah, kind of thinking like, oh, we'll go to a place much like my work. Okay. But just going into a tap room is kind of like, meh, boring, especially now that I don't drink. It's like, you know, I'll have a beer, but as I'm there, but it's just not really, there's other things I'd rather do for sure. I mean, typically brewery people are pretty cool, so it is fun to do, to go in the back and kind of do a tour and talk and stuff. It's a pretty laid back job, but I would be really interested in checking out, like, especially like in foreign breweries, just to see like what they're doing. Like German, I feel like would generally be the same, because a lot of American breweries have adopted a lot of the techniques of like German and English brewers, depending on the brewery. But Belgian and stuff would be cool. I don't know if I've had any Dutch beers. I'm trying to think if I ever did back in the day.
Yeah, a little bit, but that article's reveal is that there's a lot of very, very small breweries, and then there's some big ones. So the middle category, which I would say that your brewery, we probably don't have so much of those. It's either big balls insane or one-man breweries, which is a bit odd, but that's how it is.
As far as the US goes, we are still a tiny brewery.
Yeah.
I mean, there's breweries that are smaller, but we're still tiny. It's like, yeah, some of the bigger breweries in Maine, they're starting to get up. They're like in the top craft brewery areas, but they also don't they aren't as focused on like being massive. They produce efficiently and keep it smallish. Still pretty big, but you know, like compared to a lot of macro breweries, of course, or even some of the really big microbreweries that you see at gas stations everywhere in the US. So really,
we have
for us,
these
we're
very huge breweries like Heineken and Amstel, but I think the third might actually be a brewery that little, so the supermarket little, they contracted a small brewery for an enormous amount of beer, so they are now probably in the top 5 breweries in the Netherlands just because of that contract.
yeah.
I used to go to school at Lidl.
That's not bad. The bread is good at Lidl.
The school that I used to go to got knocked down and they rebuilt it as a Lidl. So that's my claim to fame. I went to school at Lidl.
I mean, the good thing about Lidl is that they have some kind of franchise policy, so they are in almost any European country, and they look the same. So you go into a Lidl and you feel at home, you can find the stuff, that kind of thing. They're very good.
Yeah, it's always nice. They're very nice looking too, from what I've seen.
Today, so let me know where
How are we doing, you Mel?
Good. How are you?
Glad to be back.
Yeah. Glad to have you back.
Also glad to have someone else in the house now as well.
Yeah.
So, I told Rika Nufa before, I went to collect Yolanda from Chicago Airport last night, and anyway, she eventually comes out into the baggage claim area, and she said, I got this weird message. So I look at this message, and she's got one message saying that her bags are going to be on carousel number 4, and another one saying that they're not on the same flight as her, they'll be coming later. Go to this webpage to schedule delivery. Oh, great. So we go to the baggage office, and he said, oh yeah, they didn't make it on the same flight. They were coming on the next one. It's coming in about an hour's time. So you can either wait for it. She did not take them off the carousel at Los Angeles to take them through immigration with her.
Yeah.
It's actually very good service that they're getting it that fast. That wouldn't happen over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice for them to pay attention and move it forward.
Kind of used to bags not making it with you if you fly through Chicago, but when it's your final destination, it's not usually a problem. But she just didn't know that at the point of entry into the country, she needs to go through through immigration with her. So
It's also
she does
weird.
now. Well, when you fly domestic, the destination airport generally does not have the equipment to do the immigration stuff or the people. So you do it at the point of entry.
In Europe, we manage it. Actually, Denmark used to be the US system. And I've been to so many meetings with foreigners in stinky shirts that I know that in the rest of Europe, this is completely unheard of.
I've done it in the UK as well. When I've flown into Heathrow and then had a short haul up to Manchester.
I mean, the confusing bit is that your luggage is checked through to destination. And of
Well,
course,
it's not necessarily. As I said, if you do a domestic flight, if I flew into the US, Chicago was my point of entry into the US, and then I had a short haul flight to Appleton. Appleton has no immigration. It's just a
but
small
the thing
regional
is,
airport.
If you look at the luggage label, you don't get a new luggage label after
No.
you check it through customs. So
No.
the custom label, your luggage is checked through to destination. So if you don't know that technicality, that there's no immigration, then. But I mean, the system is okay. You just got to know it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I've been doing it long enough that I know that's what happens. But and Yolanda has as well. But yeah. So we ended up waiting an extra hour for her bags to arrive. So instead of getting home around 10:30, 11, it was 11:30, 12 before we got home. So I haven't had a right lot of sleep. Yep, there you go. And Owen knows it.
Britain is even more strange. You need, well, they're abolishing it now, but you need this new, not ESTA, but whatever it's called. Even if you're just going through the airport, that is not very logical.
Yeah. Well, I think you had that while I was there in the hotel with you. Oh, and as well, one of the Australian guys made the same assumption, I think. One of the Aussies, New Zealanders. Was he New Zealand or Aussie? I can't remember. They were New Zealand, weren't they? Yeah. What would have been really funny if I'd pretended to be your son, Owen. Yeah, next time.
Oh, it's too late. I didn't get the thingy. Nice, I messed it up again. Well, that's over. I'm just going on the other.
Yeah, I guess I've got the accent, so I could have pulled that off, Owen. Or we could have tried.
I think everybody gets that. picking up milk at the supermarket pace. It's always on the absolute opposite side of the store.
Oh,
You're focused on just one item, so you're moving with a purpose.
That's by design.
But you
so
don't.
that you get tempted by all the goods in the window, getting your necessities.
Oh yeah.
yeah, work hard.
It's like one of those deals where you're like,
Fucking
you're moving so you can get it done fast, but you're not like, you don't want to look like something's wrong. You don't want to look like, Godzilla's in the parking lot,
I have this set route when I go in Walmart. I walk past the where the freshly made pizzas are, see if there's any of those reduced. Then I walk past the meat section, see if there's any meat reduced. Then I go right to the back of the store where they put the reduced bread and see if there's anything there that I want. And then I'll go around and do whatever I really went there for. But generally by the time I've done that, I've forgotten what I went in there for. And I get back home with a load of reduced stuff. Only to have to go back for what I originally went there for.
One of the Walmarts here, it has its little like discount shelf. Is in the weirdest place. It's kind of every Walmart has their own little special discount shelf area. And it's like the key is to find it. I think that one's like, I think it's next to the Pringles. Very just random kind of middle aisle. It is on the end.
She's an itty bitty spider with a itty bitty lighter and a string jacket round her waist. When she gets a bite, you better run, you better hide, better prove that you're not worth the chase. Yeah, she might be pretty, but I promise it gets scary. Once she wants your daddy and she finds out where you live. Creeping in the shadows, eating poisoned apples. She's nothing like you ever seen. Her mood goes up and round, and ain't no telling what she might do next. 'Cause she's an itty bitty spider with a itty bitty lighter and she might just come for you. Should always sleep with one eye open. You better keep in mind to always look over your shoulder. 'Cause when you think you're safe, just stay.
Wow, her racing score is getting quite high.
'Cause she's an itty bitty spider with a itty bitty lighter and she might just come for you. She's a snake crawling, creeping on the floor. If you give her time of day, baby, that's your first mistake. She will swallow you whole before you know it, your control.
Too bad it takes forever to type her name out. With an American or with the English keyboard. Oh, there's one in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Is that like
Pleasant
is that
Prairie.
the Haribo factory?
I don't know. I don't. It's not been there that long. It's a fairly recent
Oh.
addition.
So that brings up the question, why does the US have a trade deficit when all European products are being produced in the US?
Because we consume it all. See, that's a fun one to do too. Is I see your graphs quite a bit on Facebook to find a consumership by country. I wonder which one is the highest consuming country.
I mean, you can flip it around and say, who is saving the most? So putting the money in the bank instead of using it for consumption.
Yeah.
And that's actually, this is the only reason that the US has a trade deficit. Has nothing to do with government spending. It's all because of an optimist consumer culture. In Germany, they save everything they earn and live on stale bread.
Yeah, it's funny, in 2008, I did see people cut spending. It was like you could tell people were like slowing down, not eating out as much, spending as much. But like now with food prices going up, I mean, we're not in a recession or anything, so I mean, maybe that's why. But like, man, it doesn't seem like people are necessarily slowing down. They're just complaining about it.
But it has the positive effect that you have economic growth. Like Germany is going into their third year of recession because consumers are
That's not knowing.
money. But the Netherlands is in a good place because we increased our trade deficit with the US in 2024. It's now at $60 billion, so we should not be punished.
Well, that's good.
Well, it's actually
Maine,
not
on
so
the
good.
other hand,
It's
Maine,
not so
on the
good for
other
you.
hand, Maine has decided to oppose the powers.
My
Yeah,
legs are
whether or
really
not
unhappy
I-
with me at the moment.
Whether or not if I agree with the issue it's all based upon, I do agree with the issue of states' rights and executive powers, and challenging them at any point that they seem like they might be getting out of control.
Maybe we'll adopt you. You are probably the closest state to Europe, so
Maine's going to do that thing that Texas does, threatens, but yet Texas can do it because Texas has enough enough production, enough GDP. So, but Maine would just be like, you know what? That's it. We're going to Canada. Maine would love to be by itself, but I don't think Maine could sustain itself. That's why Maine needs these federal funds. Maine has this individual kind of we can do it attitude. Unfortunately, though, we don't have the money.
Well, you have to find some niche. So giving sanctuary to dodgy financial people or whatever. Something
Yes.
it's the Swiss model.
Well, we might have, well, yeah, that could work. I was gonna say we might have to like aim a little higher north, because one winter and some people might be changing their minds. They might be like, you know what? Never mind.
The bad thing about the Dutch trade deficit with the US, it's crude oil, because we're refining all your crude oil and you can't do it yourself. So that's really bad, but I hope there's a solution to that if we have a trade war.
Yeah, and that's just all us like fighting ourselves.
I mean, over here we died 5 years earlier because we live under I live exactly in the wind direction from the refineries down in Rotterdam, so we're paying a price, but
Like we have one of those issues here where we're like our energy issue with our electricity issues. It's like, well, we need to produce more energy. Like in Maine, for example, Maine imports most of its energy from Canada. So that was one of the issues with the tariffs, is how it would affect Maine. And, or with like blocking or anything, or even having Canada threaten to not send electricity. But but there's proposals that go in for like, you know, new next generation nuclear power plants. And then of course those get fought. And we've pretty much at one point, like when I was a kid, Maine was sustainable on its own electric grid with producing its own electricity. And then gradually through like the 80s and 90s, 2000s, all of those electric producers were shut down. And now Maine just has power distributors, 2 different companies that are in charge of maintaining the grid.
yeah, but it's a little bit the same as with lithium. So everybody thinks we need lithium. There's plenty of lithium, even in the US, to mine. But the thing is that the Chinese lithium is so cheap that it's not worth mining it in the US or Ukraine or anywhere. And that's probably the same with electricity in Maine, that you get it so cheap from Canada that you would kill yourself trying to make it yourself.
But it's like totally against the main way of being,
Yeah, okay.
to depend on
Independent,
someone else. And so it's like, it's one of those things where, and there's like proposals in for nuclear power plants, but they're not, you know, most likely they won't get passed because there will be tons of opposition. Because, you know, like, what do you do with the spent nuclear waste? You know, it's
I
like,
mean, the problem
that
is
type
that
of stuff.
nuclear power is just very, very, very expensive. So
but it's like, we'll
And
let
it's not-
Canada do whatever. Go ahead and do it, Canada. You know what, Canada?
mean,
you
it-
can have all the nuclear power plants.
it's bad now with nuclear power, but it's gonna get even worse because wind is just so cheap compared to nuclear power that you can't make money off it. It's impossible.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of wind power up, but yeah, it's like, it's not making a difference. We just have
Yeah,
more wind turbines.
I mean, there's a limited how much wind power you can have because it's not stable, of course, and that's where nuclear power comes in. But yeah, it's a difficult thing because we have it now not with nuclear power but with coal and gas here. That we need the coal and gas to stabilize the grid, but we're not paying the people for it, so they just close down. And then we get instabilities in the network, and nobody understands why. But there must be some hydropower possibilities somewhere in Maine that's probably not been explored because you have too cheap power. I mean, this is also Europe's problem now, of course, that we have extremely cheap gas from the Russia, 20 years. And
Yeah.
during that time, we did nothing, which was seen in hindsight a little bit naive, but that's how it happened.
I mean, luckily Canada is not a bad country.
No,
that
and you
way,
also
so,
have that
like-
they have no alternatives. They cannot lose their power anywhere else. So
Yeah.
it's a mutual
mean-
dependency.
They have been trying to build a line through Maine from Quebec down to Massachusetts to start supplying a lot of like the Boston area and stuff.
Yeah, but then you should
But
learn
that
from
keeps
the
getting
Ukrainians. That could be blown up, of course, in the case of an emergency.
But that keeps getting blocked because, I mean, it's because of, it's on the idea of pristine Maine wildland. We don't want it
Okay.
ruined, but like it's already been laid, like the path has already been cleared. It just keeps getting blocked before they can finish building it. And so it's practically there right now. But I think it's more about strategic. There's a strategic aspect to it because every time that comes up, it's
It's
a
going to
very
be
it's a
the
big political fight.
domestic producers that do not want that line. So they can disguise as Greenpeace and other stuff who are not stop it.
Or even if the main like distributors, you know, they may be like, okay, if they get to Boston, then they're probably gonna, you know, now they have a way to distribute their power. So then we have less leverage. So then, you know, then what does the main producers do now? They can just raise the price at any time they want, and Maine has no leverage in that because they can be like, okay, no more power for you. We'll just supply the Boston area, who needs all of our power.
But I mean, if you take a helicopter view, you're probably in a better place than the southwest of the US energy-wise. So it's a bit of a luxury problem, I think. You have to choose between cheap energy and cheap energy. Yeah. We have it now with the Norwegians. They were used to have very cheap power. So, I mean, this is 20 years back. So prices would probably be higher today, but they paid 4 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity around the clock. But now they have lines to sell electricity to the continent. So now they're up paying what we are paying. So up to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. So they're not happy at all.
Yeah.
But Norway is getting so rich. It's electricity, and then it's gas, and it's also oil. So they're just, I mean, if Norway could have started the war, they would have done it, but of course they can't say it. Maine should become the Norway of the US. That would be a strategy.
See, the US owes Maine a debt of gratitude because Maine was the battalion that ended up winning, that ended up doing making the deciding moves in the Battle of Gettysburg to keep the Union together. That's a 200-year-old debt, I think. How long? No, not 200
Probably
yet.
also
Almost.
have an ancestor from British Sea in the Boston Harbor, if I'm not.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I have any Massachusetts ancestors. They skipped right over that place. They were like, nah. They were like New York and Canada, and then they moved to me.
So I harvested half a gallon of water because my humidifier is full. That's the only problem I have.
Oh, wow.
I have to get off the bike and empty it, so then I can go again.
Can you just dump it in your bottles?
Yeah, I had the idea yesterday, but I read about it and it's not a good idea because there can be fungi that grows inside the unit and yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Ah, yeah.
But I was thinking from a prepping point of view that if the water supply gets contaminated, I can make my own water now. So that's a kind of preparedness, but it probably comes at a price health-wise.
Right, I am going to say thank you to Owen, Nick, Ben, everybody else that's out there on the stream. Appreciate it. I am back, so we'll have the WTRL team time trial tomorrow. Come back and join us then. I'll be at lunchtime our time. That will be in about 4.5 hours time. But tomorrow, come back and join us then. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
I've been getting water for some time, picking up the parts of all my life. Didn't get to solve it this time. How am I to break apart?